What's going on? How you guys doing? It's been a while, I know. I'm so sorry. I know y'all have been dying for a new entry of your favorite show of all time, Dave Explains Bionicle Lore. Well, I am here to tell you, I'm Dave, and I'm gonna explain some Bionicle lore for all of you lovely, lovely viewers. So, first things first, remember when I said in probably the first episode, all the Turaga, they'd be really, really important later on? Do you think I lied to you? I would never dream of it, dear viewer. I am an honest businessman. What business that is, I don't know. Don't worry about it, but they're gonna be real important now. I'm making good on my promises. Speaking of which, where the heck did we leave off last time? Let's take stock. Takanuva had just defeated Pterodax, having been killed in the process, but through some sort of divine intervention or some nonsense, he gets revived. Joller's back from the dead too, and Vakama's like, yo, Tahu and all you other Toamata, Nuva, I'm forgetting my own lore. Just so you guys know, you're not actually the first Toa. There's no other way to really go about this, so let's just dive right on in. So Vakama, this is all the 2004 to 2005. We're only covering 2004 today because it is a bit of a long story. Like I said earlier, these stories, as the line gets on, they get longer and longer. So this is just the 2004 storyline. This is just the Legends of Metru Nui storyline. So these 2 years is Vakama recounting the events of the past to the Toanuva and the Matoran. So that being said, imagine I am Turaga Vakama in this video, and all of you viewers watching this, you're the Toanuva and the Matoran. Hey Howard?
Yeah?
Can we get a VTuber model of Turaga Vakama for me?
No, that's too much money.
You never let me have any fun. Okay.
Settle for a JPEG on video?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, cool, we can do that.
All right, cool. Our story begins in the great city of Metru Nui, which actually literally translates to great city in the Matoran language. Whatever. Anyways, Likan. Oh, crap. I had taped this one preemptively so Howard could set up the shots, but the tape, when I took it off the board to put it back on and do the intro, the tape fell off. So now I gotta get the tape on again. Bonus tape, baby. So Likan, the sole Toa of the city of Metru Nui, he's grown tired of protecting a whole city by himself, especially with the ever-looming threat of the Morbuzak, a massive plant creature that's been wreaking havoc throughout the city. He's exhausted. Let the man sleep for Matanui's sake. So he goes to the great temple in Ga-Metru to steal the 6 Toa stones in order to create brand new Toa. However, upon leaving, he is accosted, confronted by 2 dark hunters. Essentially, guns for hire. That's upside down. You know, the bounty hunters from Star Wars? You know, Boba Fett, Bosk, Baylor Valance. I knew his last name. So, Nidiki and Kreka. So you'll notice here, these are not pictures of the sets. These are actually pictures of the models from Bionicle 2, Legends of Metru Nui. The reason for that is that I couldn't find decently sized, decent quality pictures of the sets themselves. So a handful of these ones for this episode are going to be models from the film. Sorry, blame Lego, I guess, for not ever releasing decent quality pictures of them. Whatever. Anyways, yeah, so Nadiki and Kreka, they fight. Likan escapes. He flies off on this cool board he has. That also, oh my god, the tape on Likan does not want to stay. Goodness gracious. He flies off on his board, and he sets out on his journey to deliver the Toa stones to 6 chosen Matoran. Who are these Matoran, you may ask? Why? Our old friends Nokama, Anawa, Nuju, Wenua, Matau, and finally Vakama. So, I don't know why I'm taking this down actually. Don't look at these guys for just like 2 seconds. So yeah, he's going to Vakama, he's delivering the stone. And then all of a sudden, Nadiki and Kreka reappear, subduing both Likhan and Vakama. Nadiki holds Vakama over a vat of molten protodermis, threatening to drop him in unless Likhan cooperates. He does, and Nadiki drops Vakama anyways because he's a bastard like that. But Likhan, being a Toa protector, he's doing his job. He saves Vakama. He kicks that board towards Vakama, saving Vakama's life, and carries him to safety. So, we can take down all these guys actually now. They're all, for now. I mean, obviously they're going to be important later on. Actually, shh, that's spoilers. The leader of the city, Turaga Duma, which is a name I never really knew how to pronounce. It's just D-U-M-E, but like in the movie, they say both Duma and Doom. So I'm pretty sure it's Duma. So Turaga Duma. He informs the populace of Likhan's disappearance and then visits Vakama, inquiring about his progress in making the Mask of Time. Oh yeah, you remember that thing from last time that Tahu used to stop the Borak Kal? Vakama is the one who made the dang thing, but he's having some trouble with it. Vakama assures Duma that he is doing all he can, but you know, making a mask that powerful, it's one of 3 in the universe, 3 legendary masks. Making a mask that powerful, it's easier said than done, you know? So Duma leaves, and Vakama follows the map his Toa stone was wrapped in back to the Great Temple in Ga-Metru, meeting up with the other Matoran. They place their stones in the Toa Suva, and bada bing, bada boom! Metru Nui has 6 new Toa, baby! The Toa Metru. I have a picture in here somewhere. Let's see how long it can take me to find this bad boy. Oh, there it is. I don't know why I have this one closer to the end of my stack, but we love some chaos on this show, don't we? There we go, Toa Metru. I can take Duma down as well. Toa Metru, there they are. I love these. These for me, these are like peak Bionicle. You know that video of, no, it's not, that meme where it's like, I like this. This is great. I love this, but I like this. That's me with the Toa Metru and like everything else in Bionicle. Love the Toa Metru. Peak Bionicle. Now, all this time, Vakama's been having visions. Despite his disappearance, Likhan has been speaking to him in a spectral form, telling him that time is running short and to protect the heart of Metru Nui. One of which included a vision of 6 discs flying at him from the shadows. Convinced the discs are the key to stopping the Morbuzak, the Toa go their separate ways to try and find these great discs, and the Matoran who have knowledge of their whereabouts, which was also included in the vision. So, we will take down the Toa Metru for now because everyone's going their separate ways. Because the Toa always go their separate ways in these stories, for God's sake. You'd think, you know, after all this time, the Toa would know to not separate. I guess it's easier to accomplish something like this, but you know, if it were me, if I were in charge of a Toa team, it's Scooby-Doo logic. Don't split up. Or horror movie logic, whatever you want. Anyways, Vakama, there he is. One of my first ever Bionicle sets, believe it or not. Vakama returns to Ta Metru to find his mentor, Nuri. All right, so this, once more. So Nuri actually does not appear in the Bionicle film, so this is a panel from one of the comics. Because again, not a big enough file of the actual picture of his set. Sorry. So Vakama returns to Ta Metru to look for his mentor Nuri, who he saves from a Morbuzak vine. Nuri tells him that he is jealous of Vakama, that he was chosen to forge the Vahi over him, but begrudgingly agrees to help him find the disc. Nokama, I haven't even made mention of my iconic tape dispenser. Just get a nice close-up of that thing. Look at that. We love the tape dispenser around here. Hey. I never printed out a picture of the island of Motunui in the other videos, did I? And I guess keeping with that, I haven't printed out a picture of Metro Nui either. Oops. All right, so Nokama, thankfully the Great Temple is in Ga Metru, so she doesn't have to go very far. She searches for her old student, Vizola. She's a teacher, Nokama. Who she saves from plummeting off a waterfall and instructs her to return to the Great Temple with her. Moving on. This is going to be just a tad repetitive, guys. I'm sorry, but that's just how it goes. It's not very fetch questy, but they're all doing essentially all the Toa are doing exactly the same thing, more or less. So you know, you kind of just gotta bear with me here. It is important. I mean, I guess it's not super important because they didn't put it in the movies at all. Let me move Vizola up closer to Nokama. There we go. So, Matao travels the chute system to find Orcam, I don't know. That's another pronunciation that's always troubled me. A Lematoran who he'd never quite gotten along with, nearly avoiding being killed by a sabotage chute, which is so the chute system in Metro Nui is the main form of transportation in the city. Just these big long tubes of protodermis that carry you along at very, very high speeds. So anyways, the Toa of the Air learns that Orcam was being blackmailed. His favorite mussel crab, Puku, hey, that's Takua's crab, has been captured and demanded a ransom of the Great Disk's location in return for her safety. Matao saves Orcam, who tells the Toa that the one who demanded the ransom was a Pomatoran named Akmu. I can't remember if I mentioned Akmu last time, but if you guys remember, in the first episode, way back when, in the past, the Takua solving the Pokoro pandemic, you know, with the poisoned Koli balls, that was all Akmu. Akmu was the one who was selling those balls. So yeah, Akmu was the one who was blackmailing Orcam. Speaking of Akmu, Onewa returns to Po Metro in search for Akmu, because Akmu is the one who knows where the Great Disk for Po Metro is. So there's Onewa. And here is Akmu. Oh god, oh god, oh god. I hope this is fine. It'll probably be fine. Akmu and Onewa, yeah. So Onewa returns to Po Metro in search of Akmu. Nadiki appears. That's fine. Nadiki appears while Onewa interrogates Akmu. Akmu runs off while the Toa is distracted, but Onewa catches up with him, and Akmu's like, okay, it's probably just best to go with him. I don't want to seem very, you know, really guilty here. So they go, Akmu goes with him. Wenua, or Wenua, that's not one that I've never known the pronunciation for. It's just explicitly the oh god, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't even know. I'm bad at this. I'm taking these down. This is starting to get a little crowded. Wakama, no. Wenua travels deep down into the archives of Onu Metru to search for Tahuti, another comic man. But he's attacked by an escaped Rakshi. With Tahuti's help, he releases a Muwaka, and the two fight while the Toa and Matoran make their escape. Finally, we're getting down to the end of this. Nuju, who I never had as a kid, but he was always my favorite look of the Toa Metro, because I love those weapons he has. I can't remember what they're called. Oh, there's Area. Things are all out of order here. God. I'm not good at my job, everyone. So Nuji travels to Kometru in search of Arie, a hopeful scholar. He finds a Matoran trapped in ice, which is kind of weird that a Matoran of ice would be trapped in ice. But I guess they're just clumsy, or maybe just stupid. Kind of sucks for him if he wants to be a scholar and he's getting trapped in ice. He ain't going anywhere with that. Sorry. Choose another career, Arie. Anyways, Nuja frees him, and Arie also mentions that he has spoken to Akmu as well about the Great Discs. I wonder, what does Akmu want with those discs? I don't know. I don't think they ever really go into that. Anyways, the Toa with their Matoran companions. I'm gonna get the... You know what? I'm not gonna get these off because I'm just gonna have to put them all back up again. Anyways, the Toa with their Matoran companions return to the Great Temple in Gametru and start their plans to find the Great Discs. They come to the conclusion that Akmu is indeed up to something, but you know they'll deal with him later. They'll cross that bridge when they get there. They got stuff to do. They got to find the Great Discs. They got to stop the Morbuzak, and all of that. So yeah, Vakama. I brought him down. Where is he? That is not Vakama. That's not Vakama. That's Vakama. Vakama. Okay, we gotta kind of think about this real quick. Okay, maybe I will take these down for now. Just so Vakama. I think. Oh yeah, here we go. So Vakama, Anawa, Nuri, and Akmu. They go to Tametru. The fire pits of Tametru to look for the Great Discs. They're attacked by more Buzak vines, but Nuri uses Vakama's disc launcher to stop the plant. Vakama grabs the disc, the Toa and Matoran escape and head to Pometru to get the next disc. Anawa finds it atop a massive stone structure, but apparently he's never seen Raiders of the Lost Ark because the structure crumbles as soon as he's got the disc. I think I made that joke in the last episode too about the Mask of Light. Sorry, I don't care. Raiders of the Lost Ark is a great movie. I can make another reference to it if I want, the same exact reference. Sucks, what are you gonna do about it? It's my show. I can do whatever I want. Anyways, oh, did I do this right? Hey, nice coincidence. Uwenawa, Nuju, Tehudi, and Arie descend once more into the archives, battling various Rahi, such as a gigantic Ussel crab, frost leeches, and a deadly two-headed Tarakava, and even a shape-shifting creature that disguised itself as an empty room. How does that work? I don't know. Don't worry about it. But I remember in the books, it was they kind of wrote it. Greg Farshid, who was the author for a lot of the Bionicle story, he wrote it as kind of like a horror scenario. It's really cool. Thankfully, they make it out with the disc, and they head on to Kometru, following the Vaki, which are the police force of Metru Nui, to the Knowledge Tower, where the disc resides, frozen in ice. Not really sure how long it's been there, honestly, but don't worry about it. Okay, let me just kind of... sure that works. Okay, so that's Duma. Yeah, okay. Matau. Nope. Gali. No, okay, there's Vizala. Where is Orcam? Where is Orcam? There's Orcam. So Matau, Gali, Vizola, and Orcam, they don't have very far to go because, again, the temple is right in Gametru. So Vizola informs them that the disc for that area of the city, is actually deep in the sea beneath the Great Temple, wedged in the jaws of a massive Rahi known only as the Dweller in the Deep. Nokama grabs the disc, narrowly avoiding being eaten, and they travel to Metru to an area of the Shoot Network called the Notch. Matau finds the disc inside a force sphere, an anomaly of magnetic energy that kind of just pulls everything around it into a swirling maelstrom. But he grabs the disc, thankfully, because he's the Toa of Air and he can do whatever he wants. Because he's a Toa, he has the power. Yeah, I don't know. Don't worry about it. So, all the discs are in hand. The Toa regroup with the Great Temple. Okay, but Vakama and Onawa are stopped by a squad of Bordok, Vaki, but Nuri tells them, hey, I saw the Toa Metru over on the opposite side of the city. You should go look there. And the Vaki are robots, so they're like, all right, cool. We'll go over there. They're stupid. They're robots. They're not organic. I mean, I guess these guys aren't organic either. They're bio-organic, so they're organic and robot. It's not important. I'm going off on a tangent again. Anyways, the group deduces that the Morbuzak route is in the Great Furnace of Ta Metru. So both the Toa and the Matoran. We're going to take these down just to give us a little more wiggle room here. Oh my god, I have so many pictures here. Too many. Oh. Some of these are coming undone, but that's okay because we're not going to need the Matoran for much longer. The Toa and the Matoran, they head to Ta Metru. There we go. See, look how nice and clean this looks now. I don't know what just dropped. I'll find out in a bit. So they travel to Ta Metru just to defeat the plan. You ever seen Godzilla's Biolante? It's kind of like that, but not quite. We'll get to it. Upon arriving, thousands of seeds drop down from the ceiling in an attempt to stop them. Tahuti remembers something he learned in the archives and instructs the Matoran to do their own fusion dance, just like the Toa Mata and Nuva did with the Toa Keda. They fuse into a being called the Matoran Nui. There's not a good picture of that. I mean, maybe there is. I doubt it, though. Anyways, they're not important. They're only there for like a couple minutes at most. The being rips down the door into the larger antechamber of the furnace, allowing the Toa to finally face the plant. All right, so the Matoran, they're pretty much out of the story completely for now. Get out of here. I mean, no, they pretty much are. Face to face with the Morbuzak. The plant is revealed to be sentient and capable of communication, albeit telepathic communication, because it's a big plant. Can't exactly talk. There it is. From the comic, obviously. It's a plant. It's not going to be a Lego set. It telepathically informed the Toa of its plans to subjugate the Matoran and use them as slaves for others of its kind. The Toa unleashed the great discs on the creature, cutting the king root off from the rest of its vines and letting it burn up in the furnace, thus ending the threat of the Morbuzak plant. With that threat ended, the Toa start to make their way to the Great Colosseum, discs in hand, to prove their worth as new protectors of the city. However, they are stopped by our old friend Nuparu, who tells the Toa that deep down in the archives, there's a leak. See, the archives are like well below sea level, and if the walls down there crack, the entire ocean would flood the archives and likely all of Onumetru. So the Toa are like, all right, that's really bad. We should go stop this. So they venture down into the archives, running into two Rakshi, which mysteriously have no Krata in their armor. The Toa split up to cover more ground, but Vakama... Oh boy, okay. This will be fun. Okay. Don't need that one. We do need that one, but not just yet. Don't need that. Don't need that just yet. Don't need that. Don't need that. Where are all my Toa? Okay. No. Vakama. Yeah, they're split up, so let's get rid of these guys for now. They split up, but Vakama runs into Nokama. But she attacks him. Okay, I'm just making sure. So Nokama attacks Vakama. And Onawa is likewise attacked by Vakama. Who in kind attacks Matau. So something weird's going on down here. They all eventually regroup and accuse each other of betrayal, but Whenua appears. I don't even know where Whenua is. There's Whenua. Whenua, I mean, I could just use the group shot, I suppose, but I think they split up again, but it's okay. Screw it. I'm doing it anyways. I'm making more work for myself. They regroup, and Whenua clears the air, saying, hey, no one attacked anyone. Listen, there's something down here. It's called Kraka, an incredibly powerful shape-shifting Rahi that resides deep in the archives, and she likely just wants the Toa to leave her lair, to leave her alone. Despite the threat of the Rahi, the Toa agree that they cannot let the leak get worse and venture deeper underground. They come across a variety of various dangerous creatures in the archives, including a swarm of stone rats, morakshi, and lava eels. Kraka returns and disguised as Nokama, traps Nuju, and returns to the group disguised as the Toa of Ice. But the Toa sense a trap and instead goad her into revealing herself. Kraka escapes, but returns again to ambush the Toa and take them deeper into her lair. Kraka reveals her intelligence and her plan to inter the Matoran deep below the archives, while she lives up on the surface in splendor. The Toa free themselves, and Kraka shapeshifts into a massive being comprised of all 6 Toa at once. There is a picture of Kraka in that form, but it's really small and you wouldn't be able to see anything. And there's not even instructions for Kraka, oddly enough. There are instructions, but unlike most LEGO sets, which is step by step, the instructions are available in one of the books, like the Bionicle books after the story itself, and the instructions are just like, okay, make this specific part. You gotta eyeball it. It's dumb. I never made Kraka. I mean, I also never made Kraka because I never owned all 6 of the Toa Metro. I only had Vakama and Anawa, so I wouldn't have been able to make Kraka if I wanted to. That's whatever. Unfortunately, the minds and power of all 6 in one body, so that's the thing. Kraka had, like, in addition to shape-shifting, she also takes on the abilities of whatever she shapeshifts into. So the minds and power of all 6 Toa in one body are too much for the creature to handle, and the Toa triumph over her, succeeding in sealing the cracks in the arcades, and leave to finally present the great discs at the Colosseum. Thank God. Took them that long. All right. Upon arriving at the Colosseum, Dumas and all the Matoran are skeptical of these new Toa, with Dumas proclaiming Toa must prove themselves with deeds, not simple gifts. The Toa, having trusted Vakama's plan to gather the discs, to throw them back at the Toa of Fire. Dumas tells them to cross the moving floor of the arena and they will be welcomed as Toa. However, these guys, they're still kind of new to this whole thing. I mean, they don't even have access to their masks yet, their mask powers. Remember that? That's a thing. But they don't do it. They can't do it yet. They're too new. They have no idea what the heck they're doing. So they fail. They screw up. They get their asses handed to them. And Dumas is like, hey, these guys suck. These guys aren't Toa. They're imposters. Hey, Howard, put the Amogus sound effect there, please. And maybe they're even responsible for Leekon's disappearance. We haven't seen Leekon in a while. Where is he off to? Vakama, however, notices Nidiki and Kreka standing right nearby Dumas. And he's like, hey, what's going on there? I think he's the imposter. He's sus. He's even red. Oh God, this is falling apart here, Howard. So anyways, Vakama tries to place the blame on Dumas, but Dumas is like, hey man, I'm the leader of the whole city and also the entire police force. Just capture the Toa. You guys are like 6, and I have a whole army of robotic police robots. Yeah. So Nuju, Anawa, and Whenua are sucked into a whirlpool and placed in a dungeon, while Vakama, Matao, and Nokama escape by destroying a large statue of Leekon. They jump into a nearby chute, pursued by Nidiki and Kraka, and head to Le Metru. In a brief period of rest, Vakama has another vision, this time the form of a twisted shadow creature. I wonder what that is. but is awoken by Nokama as a new threat emerges. Okay, so Matao, Nokama, and Vakama, they're the ones all together here. I will keep Nadiki and Kreka handy. Not so much Duma. These guys. All right. And then Onawa. No, where is Nuju? Where is Nuju? Honestly? Oh, there's Nuju. Okay. So yeah, Toa have been separated. So these guys, what are they doing? A gargantuan Rahi, the Tatorak, emerges from the ground and actually speaks to the Toa, demanding to know the answer. The answer to what? That's the thing. They don't know. The thing doesn't even really specify what the question is. So instead, Vakama just uses his disc launcher. He launches a disc of weakening at the ground below the Tatorak, and it just kind of crumbles, and the Tatorak is sent right back down to where it came from. With the Toa seemingly lost in the chute system, Nadiki and Krika visit our old friend Kongu, who way back then in the Metronui times, he was the manager of the chute system. So they threaten him and tell them to reverse the flow of the chutes to bring the Toa right back to the Colosseum. The Toa then physically cut their way out of the chutes in Kometru to escape, and Matao flies them down to the ground safely. Vakama begins toying with the great discs, because he's still got those things. He may as well try to do something with them, and discovers that they can actually be fused together. He realizes that this is the key to making the Vahi. See, making Konohi masks requires the use of Konoka discs. How do you make Konoka discs? I don't know. They never really went into that in the story, so it's not that important. Anyways, Vakama, Matao, and Nokama, they stow away on a Vaki transport bound for Pometru. Meanwhile, Nuju, Wenowa, and Onawa, they're still in prison. So they awaken in a cell with one other occupant, a mysterious masked Turaga. I mean, obviously he's masked. Everyone in the Matoran universe has a mask, but this guy's got a mask, over his mask. Yeah. Anyways, the Turaga tells the three Toa that in order to get out of their cell, they'll need to discover their mask powers. Well, that's a big thing in this arc. Back on the Vaki transport, Matao, Nokama, and Vakama. Vakama finds some weird-looking spheres and has another vision of a Gamatoran trapped inside. He quickly opens the sphere and finds it empty for now. They finally arrive in Pometru and begin looking for clues to Likan's location, but are ambushed by Nadiki and Kreka. Thankfully, a herd of Kikanalo, which I do actually have a picture of. It's been a while since I've got a new picture up here, huh? Makes things a little easy. A herd of Kikanalo arrive, and yeah, they drive the Dark Hunters off. I think that's it for them for a while. I don't remember. Nokama's mask begins to glow, and she unlocks the power of the Konohi Rao, Mask of Translation. She calms the Rahi, and the leader of the pack communicates that Likan is actually being held in a canyon not far from their location. Back in the cell, the Turaga has the Toa doing seemingly menial tasks in order to unlock their mask powers. Onawa and Wenowa get into an argument, and Onawa tells the Toa of Earth to sit down, which he surprisingly does. Boom! Another mask power! Onawa has the Konohi Komau, Mask of Mind Control. In an attempt to break up the argument, Nuju also discovers the power of the Konohi Matatu, Mask of Telekinesis, and he breaks a hole in the wall of the cell. They're free! Meanwhile, the other three Toa, the other three Toa have found the location where Likan is being imprisoned, though it is being guarded by a veritable army of Zadok, as well as Nadiki and Kreka. So Vakama, Nokama, and Matao, as well as the horde of Kikanalo, make quick work of the Vaki, while Matao uses his newfound power of the Konohi Mahiki Mask of Illusion to confuse the Dark Hunters. They enter the canyon where Leon is being held, but Duma's pet Nivok sees this and reports back to the Turaga, who orders all the Matoran to convene in the Colosseum. In the tunnels, Wenwa discovers his mask power, the Kanoi Ruru Mask of Night Vision, to light their way through the caves, but he ends up running headlong into a Vaki. Thankfully, it's just Matau fooling around with his mask power. And the Toa are reunited, so we can get all these off here because they're pretty much reunited for the rest of the story. So these guys, yeah. You're gonna have to keep track of these. Okay, there's Duma. Okay, put these guys over here for now. There we go. So the Toa are reunited. The Toa exchange tales of their hardships, and the Turaga reveals his identity as none other than Lekon. Vakama is overjoyed, thinking he's completed his mission of saving the heart of Metru Nui. Lekon, however, seems disappointed. I'm not Metru Nui's heart, the Matoran are, the former Toa tells him. Vakama, understandably upset, walks off and discovers more of those strange pods. He opens one up, and what the heck? Duma's in there. If he's in the pod, who the heck's leading Metru Nui? I don't know. Maybe it's the big bad villain, our antagonist character. Who could that be? Anyways, before the Toa have a chance to discuss, a horde of Vaki are suddenly upon them. They commandeer a Vaki transport, and with Wenwa's help, they dig their way out of the tunnels and start heading towards the Colosseum to see just what the heck is going on in here. Duma, the false Duma we know now, orders the Matoran into the pods under some unknown pretexts. I don't know. I guess in 2004, Bionicle had a lesson this year that you shouldn't blindly trust your leaders. That seems kind of base to me, not gonna lie. Anyways, the Toa arrive and confront the false Duma, who removes Duma's mask to reveal his identity. It's goddamn Pterodax! What? Pterodax unleashes the Great Shadow across the city, which in turn brings forth the Great Cataclysm. Remember how the Toa Mata's mission, their whole point of being, was to wake Mata Nui up? This is how he falls asleep in the first place. The effects are felt all across the Matoran universe, and I won't get into too much detail there because I would spoil elements from later story years, but believe me, it ain't looking too good. A massive earthquake destroys much of Metru Nui. So Pterodax begins absorbing power from the city, while Wenwa discovers the sleeping Matoran under the floor of the Colosseum using his mask power. The Toa break through the floor with the Vaki transport and load up a small handful of the pods and start to leave to find a safe haven. Meanwhile, Nivok, Nadiki, and Kreka are absorbed into Pterodax's body, giving him a new, very powerful form. All right, yeah, we can get rid of all three of these actually. So there's Pterodax. That's kind of the best picture I was able to get of him, unfortunately. That's what Pterodax looked like, at least in this year. I'll get into that whole element of the Makuta species. So the Toa make their escape, but are cut off by a horde of Bordok. With no other choice, they launch the transport into the sea. Thankfully, the craft is buoyant thanks to those Matoran spheres they have attached to the sides. That's a little morbid, I feel. It's like the Matoran are in there sleeping, and they're just like, yeah, we'll make use of that. It's a little weird to me. Whatever. Meanwhile, Vakama combines the rest of the Great Discs and finally crafts the Vahi. He has another vision showing him a crack in the Great Barrier that will lead them to safety. He tells Matau to head for that direction, but Pterodax attempts to stop them, creating huge pillars of protodermis to crash down onto them. Vakama instructs Nuju to use his mass power to levitate him up to the cliff where Pterodax is in order to confront him. So let's get Vakama by himself here. There he is. Pterodax tries to tempt Vakama into joining him because he's evil. That's what all villains do. They're like, oh, join me and we'll rule the galaxy as father and son. I mean, Pterodax isn't Vakama's father. They don't really reproduce. Don't think about it. But the Toa of Fire is like, nah, you're a bad guy. I'm a good guy. I'm not having any of that. So Vakama dons the Mask of Time, and uses its power against the Makuta right as Pterodax unleashes a deadly hand made entirely out of shadow from his chest. Vakama, unfortunately, realizes a little too late that he too is trapped in the slowed time stream from the mask, and thus will likely not be able to make it out of the way in time. Thankfully, out of nowhere, Lycan appears and takes the brunt of Pterodax's shadow hand with his old fire great swords. The blast knocks the Vahi from Vakama's face, and it skitters over the edge of the cliff. Pterodax dives in after it. Unfortunately, even shielded from the attack, Pterodax's assault proves a little too much for Lycan's frail body. Vakama rushes over to him, his heart light fading rapidly. Lycan tells him, "I am proud to have called you brother, Toa Vakama," just before he dies. In his grief, Vakama finally unlocks the power of the Kanohi Huna, Mask of Concealment, and he goes to once again confront Pterodax. Having recovered the Vahi, Pterodax is about to put it on, but it is knocked out of his hands by Vakama, who launches a Kanoka disc at it, and it skitters over the edge once again. Enraged, Pterodax unleashes another Shadow Hand, and the Makuta and Toa begin a game of cat and mouse, with Vakama switching back and forth from visible to invisible to lure Pterodax into grabbing a large stone pillar with his Shadow Hand. Feeling a little dazed, Pterodax tells Vakama that he's alone. How could he possibly hope to defeat him when even Lycan couldn't? "Because he's not alone," cries Nokama. And the remaining Toa Metro arrive, and joining their elemental power with Vakama's, they imprison Pterodax in a Toa seal. With the threat of the Makuta ended for now, the Toa get back in the Vaki transport, now christened the Lycan, and sail through the Great Barrier, but they're not out of the woods just yet. They still need to find a new home for the Matoran. In a vast tunnel system, they encounter multiple dangerous Rahi, and almost lose Nuju for good. Thankfully, Nokama saves him and decides to scout the tunnels ahead. I can take Pterodax off now as well. It's really just these guys for the rest of it. They come to an enormous underground lake populated by many marine creatures, which are actually the first Rahi ever created. They're eventually captured by a group of Krali, robotic precursors to the Vaki. The drones bring them to an exiled Matoran named Mavra. Wenonwa recognizes him and recounts to his brothers and sister that all these Rahi went missing from the archives ages ago, along with Mavra, who is assumed to have been killed. Vakama escapes using his Huna and returns to the Lycan to discover that one of the Matoran spheres has gone missing. The Toa end up trying to fight their way out with the Krali and even some stray Vaki joining the battle out of nowhere. In the chaos, the Rahi begin fighting against each other as well, and Wenonwa and Onawa convince Mavra, I almost said Matau, Wenonwa and Onawa convince Mavra to call them off, and he concedes, but not before being knocked into the lake and seemingly killed. The Toa slip away back onto the Lycan and continue on through the tunnel. Matau flies ahead to scout things out just as the tunnel starts to flood, but he quickly returns, telling them he's found an island paradise. The Toa seal off the tunnel behind them to keep the approaching Vaki out, and they emerge from the tunnel to just what Matau had described, an island paradise. They leave the 5 remaining Matoran spheres on the beach, and also create 6 new Toa stones and hide them around the island, discovering places to build villages as they do. But only 5 Matoran, that's not much to build an entirely new home on. They still gotta go back into that city to get the thousands more Matoran still trapped. But hey, that's for next time, because that is all of the 2004 Bionicle storyline, baby. We did it! Another one for the books! For all of you hoping for a repeat of my classic bit with showing the entirety of Bionicle 2 Legends of Metro Nu just like last time, sorry, but that movie tells an abridged version of the lore. I mean, the Matoran aren't even in there. The Morbuzak isn't even in the film for more than like 5 seconds. So, you know. Anyways, you know what time it is. We're going to cover every set that came out in 2004. Why, I still don't know. But okay, small sets. We've got the Matoran, Nuri, Vizola, Tahuti, Akmu, Orkam, and Eri. For medium-sized canister sets, we have the Toa Metru, Vakama, Nokama, Wenonwa, Onawa, Matau, and Nuju. And also the Vaki, Nurok, Bordak, Vorzak, Zadok, Rorzak, and Karok. I know they sound very much like the Rakshi names. It's fine. For the larger sets, we have Taraga, Duma, and Nivok, Ndiki, Kreka, Toilakan, and Akikanalo, and Ultimate Duma, which was just the set version of Pterodax, but in actuality it was the combiner model for those first 3. That was that picture of Pterodax I had. That's what Ultimate Duma was. But it also, so that was released in its own package. It also came with an exclusive version of Pterodax's mask, the Kronoi Krakan, It looks more like the version in the film. For collectibles, they got way lamer than they did the previous years with the Kanoka disc launcher pack. There was the Master Accessory Kit, which is just a tub of Bionicle pieces. There were also some promotional sets which had shooter plus disc, which came in a French Bionicle magazine, Kanoka disc launcher and disc, exactly the same thing, except this time it was a gift with purchase. Of what? I have no idea. And finally, there's the Kratu, which instructions were available for online, but it's actually unknown if it was ever released anywhere. So there you have it, folks. Bionicle 2004 in one video. I'll see you next time for 2005, the Web of Shadows arc. It's cool. It's a cool one. I know a lot of people don't like the Hordika sets, but I think they're pretty neat. We'll see what you guys think. I'll see you guys next time.